my name's Angelina, and this is my persuasive speech. So, like many of us, we all have different learning paces, and we all have different ways of understanding our learning. So, like me, I tend to be more on the quiet side. I like to be more of like a visual learner. I like to see how a teacher does something rather than have me be the one to do something, I guess, and to just really kind of grasp and make my own judgment and my own understanding of something. I tend to slow down a bit when it comes to that type of learning, but if I have my teacher demonstrate something, I'll most likely understand it at a reasonable pace for me. So yeah, and every single type of learning pace is totally normal. Everyone is different, and they all, learn in their own ways, and that's totally okay, and we should definitely normalize it. So I would consider myself as an introvert. If given the option, I don't really choose to participate in like a general class discussion or any type of like public setting that makes me have to voice out my voice, or to just like showcase people my answer to a given like question or just general idea of something. It's just I tend to like to listen to what other people have to say for themselves, and that will make me develop my own opinion and my own answer to something based on what everyone as a class has to say. And introvert learning, or I guess introverts in general, the reason why people like me don't like to speak up a lot, and it's not because we're shy or we have social anxiety. I have a little bit of it, but it's not generally the case. But like me, I generally like to just kind of sit back and develop my own opinion based on what other people have to say. It's not that I'm not learning, but because I'm more on the slow side, it takes me a while to understand why something works this way, and seeing how other people view it in their own eyes, it makes me like understand it faster, but it will also make me create an answer later. But yeah, throughout my speech, I will provide evidence that supports my position that introverts should not be forced to participate in activities, or I guess in any public activity, because it will affect their way of learning in a negative way. First, I will demonstrate how introverts could be negatively affected by these circumstances, and I will also explain how following introvert learning, or I guess supporting it in a school place, will benefit their learning and them as a person. And then finally, I will review how we can move today as a community to encourage this type of learning, and to make it comfortable for these socially introverted people to have a better learning experience at school, because I feel that we are generally, or the school system is type of like a general learning style for everyone, and like I mentioned at the start, we all learn differently and we all are unique. So it's a good way to practice that and to show that our schools are well-rounded, and that we fit every student and we fit all their needs, and that we have many ways to combat these situations that many students lack. So the negative effects of forced learning. According to the Washington Post, they state that teachers often define classroom participation as a verbal response that fits into a routine that the teacher has established. So like I said before, it looks like these like settings are more towards, I guess, like extroverted people, and it looks like that it's just really generalized, and that people who are more on the introverted side, like me, are not really comfortable with this, despite it being a requirement. and I feel like it's too generalized, and it doesn't fit, and it doesn't make a lot of us comfortable with these types of activities, because we don't thrive off of this. We don't benefit from anything. And the stigma is that, if a student is not participating in a public setting, in a public classroom like setting, the teacher might think that they're not learning, but that's not true. We just choose to not participate. We just don't find it as a way that helps ourselves, because all what we're doing is trying to learn what other people have to say for themselves, and then we can use that information to develop our own opinion and our own answer. But if we're being forced, or if we have to participate in this type of setting, then our way of learning might be negatively affected. So, yeah. And then the benefits of introverted learning. So according to Introvert Dear, one professor at a school just provided an alternate solution to a student by inviting them to email her class after class with their thoughts and impressions about the readings, and to include anything I had wanted to say during the discussion but was unable to. So not only was this a great solution that the professor had made for the student, because they found an alternate solution to see their understanding of their learning, even though they weren't able to participate in the public class discussion. So they instead made the student type up and create a list of ideas and thoughts that they had in mind during the actual discussion, and they just sent it to the teacher, and from this way they were able to understand them, even though they didn't talk. So yeah, there's many other ways rather than just a public discussion or just any extroverted setting to prove an introvert's way of learning. We need to make a bigger, way of learning, a bunch of learning skills, because it seems that only extroverts, or the way of learning in schools tends to be more beneficial for extroverts. So, now that I've demonstrated how forced learning is ineffective for introverted learners, I'll explain how we go on from here and apply it to school. First, we have to inform our teachers. Jessica Leahy from Quitrev states that I realized that I need to come up with new techniques to encourage sharing in the classroom that stem from collaboration and joint efforts, and offer ways for less verbal students to articulate their knowledge. So this is one of many teachers who, again, understands, how and what socially introverted people go through, on a daily basis, and that they will find alternate ways to help them and to make them know that they are learning at school. So therefore, I explained how introverted students are unable to showcase their full potential in school due to learning techniques that do not fit them. I talked about the negative consequences and also the benefits of how they affect them. And I also talked about what our next step should be and what we should do to improve our schools today and in order to help our introverted students. Thank you.